Nearly everybody has been hard hit by all this, but charities and nonprofits are getting clobbered. Fundraisers being canceled, donations drying up, just as record-smashing unemployment means people need more than ever from them. I'm joined by Bryan Rafanelli, who you may know as the legendary event planner behind Chelsea Clinton's wedding, several Obama state dinners, and more, but who you should know also works with a long list of nonprofits, including UNICEF, the American Red Cross, and the Boys and Girls Club of Boston. Bryan, it's great to see you. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it.
Great to be here.
You know, in anticipation of your coming, I just looked up some of the nonprofits you work with. First one I went to was Camp Harbor View, which does this great thing for inner city kids during the summer. Their May Beach Ball Gala canceled. I went down the list. Virtually every spring event I could find, gone. That was the norm, yes?
Yeah, look, we rushed 7 weeks ago. We started talking to everybody about moving out of April, May, June. We had to get out. We could see it coming.
So 2/3 of nonprofits in a survey, and by the way, they employ about 500,000 people in the state overall, expect decreases in revenue. They have thin margins to begin with. As I said, the demand for their services is more. I was just talking to the president of the Federal Reserve, who said he hopes in the next stimulus package that nonprofits are addressed. But until they are, what are you telling your clients and the groups on whose boards you sit? How do they survive this period?
Look, basically everybody has to do what I think everybody's doing at home, right? You have to sort of figure out what's going on, what you have in-house right now, let's say in fundraising, and what you can bring in, because that's basically what my clients and the boards I'm on are doing. We're like saying, can we support this? The Huntington Theater, for example, sent out an immediate email to the board with a challenge to say, how can we take care of our people, their staff? That was first, and then eventually the theater. Or you brought up Camp Harbor View. I mean, Jack Connors, who runs that, is also raising all the money for the Resilience Fund. Mm-hmm. But he's got to figure out, what is camp going to open, and what can he do for the families, by the way, that need their help right now, the services they were providing for them. So it really has to, you just have to take stock of what do you have, what do you need, and who can help you. Because in this climate, you cannot be afraid to ask. You have to ask.
Can I add one thing to your list, though? I was scheduled to MC or be an auctioneer at a couple of spring events that were canceled. Every single one of them has been rescheduled for September. And if I can use a phrase that's used in another setting, if these groups don't flatten the curve and spread out their rescheduled events, there's not going to be enough money to come or go around in the fall. Am I not right?
Well, you're absolutely right. And I have 23 events right now on the books for September. Now, look, that's crazy. I don't even want my staff to go to 23 events. But think about that. Think about the hundreds or thousands of people we're all going to be in front of. So that's something we're actually addressing right now. We're talking about virtual events. We're talking about a plan B, right? We have to get ready for the worst. That's what we have to do. So if the curve settles down and we can gather, what does gathering look like? Because that's the other thing, Jim. We've been studying this of like, when we come together, how can we show people that they can trust to come back together? What kinds of things are we going to come up with? And they're going to feel safe. They're going to feel like they're being taken care of. Are we going to do Sandy wipes in between every course? Are we only going to do boxed dinners? Are we only going to do bottled drinks? I mean, we have to think about all this stuff.
You know, can we move from nonprofit stuff for a second to weddings? And I don't mean the Chelsea Clinton weddings. I don't mean to disparage them. It's great. But, you know, real people's weddings, you do a lot of these things. What kind of psychic damage, I don't even know if those are the right words, is done to two families when something this important that's been planned for so long disappear? Well, hopefully doesn't disappear permanently, but is put off. That's got to be a big psychological hit, no?
I mean, you've got to think about it. If you have kids, whether you have kids or not, you've got to think about what you're going through of having this excitement of planning the most beautiful day of your life. Your family's coming together, as you said, and all of a sudden, boom, it's gone. Like you have to postpone, you have to move. I mean, I have a colleague of mine right here at Rafanelli that she was supposed to get married in the first weekend of May, and she's not getting back all her deposits, right? So her parents are taking a financial hit, and she's just had to narrow her dream down to a very small wedding. I mean, this is a really emotional time to begin with, but I'm telling you, it's really taking a toll on the idea with young people of what does the future hold? What does it look like? and how can I come together? I will say this: look, wedding planning, I often say, is a boot camp on life, and this is one hard lesson of families really coming together, taking care of each other, letting their kids kind of work it through, and then settle down to the reality we're all living.
That's a great line. By the way, you can't do, I assume you're not thinking about virtual weddings where somebody says, I now pronounce you spouse and spouse, you may kiss the phone screen. I mean, there's no virtual weddings, yes?
Not in my world.
Okay,
it's not
fine.
coming to that.
Can we, last time, I think last time you were here on behalf of Pete Buttigieg, who was your guy. I assume this is one of these areas, we're talking about virtual stuff, politics, where virtual replacements for events works, right? I mean, maybe not as great as being in the presence of the candidate, but I assume that works.
I'm about to roll out a Biden virtual event at the end of the month. And yeah, of course, that's what they have to do. And quite honestly, it's very much like, a political event of having, high donors get to talk to the vice president ahead of time, then everybody come in, create a dynamic, interesting conversation, perhaps bring surrogates in on top of it to join the vice president. I mean, we're really looking at this to say this is the new way we need to communicate in a political environment. And it is critical that people hear from the candidates, and in this case, hear from the vice president.
But I don't want to tell you your business because you're at the top of your game, but what is a political event without hors d'oeuvres? I mean, what do you do about that, Bryan Rafanelli?
Now, look, I don't want to slight the caterers that serve at our political events, but look, you have better stuff at home. When we come back, you should eat at home before you go to a political event.
Fair enough. Bryan, I want to talk about a personal thing. You were also here recently for your great book called A Great Party, and you are Mr. Great Party, I should say. You dedicate the book to your mother, Carol, who I think is an 80-something.
Yeah, 85.
How old?
85 years old.
85. On your website, you talk about her in these glowing terms, these family gatherings, the two of you doing these events together. It's really a beautiful story. So you have an 85-year-old mother, I assume distance, because that's what we've all learned. What has that been like for you and for Carol?
You know what? I would tell you, for me, I'm a planner, right, Jim? So I went right into Mom, you're in Florida. What are you going to do? How are we going to get you back? By the way, she's so vulnerable. She has so many challenges health-wise. Now, she just went through this whole thing in the last couple of weeks that she's come out of, and they find a new drug for her. But imagine, I talk to her every single day and try to talk this through of what this looks like, what is the reality, and how we can take care of her. Now, she's a brilliant woman, right? She sits on her balcony. She watches the dolphins go by. She's not leaving her house. My sister, who's a teacher in Rhode Island, is down there, right? Because she has no school. So there is a silver lining to this. But you know what? Not to have her here and know that we can take care of her is really, really frightening. But I have a great family. We did a big call last night. We're doing it a couple times a week. And she's, she wants her health, and quite honestly, she wants to stay by the pool in Florida, even though she's not going to the pool, by the way. She's promising me that.
Fair enough. I hope somebody's monitoring that. Bryan Rafanelli, it's great to talk to you. Good luck with your mother. Good luck with your nonprofits, and we'll talk to you soon. Bryan Rafanelli. Thanks. Really appreciate it.